It's the 17th of August 2026. You're welcome to this morning's edition of AM120. It's a beautiful Monday morning, I would say, and I hope it is beautiful wherever it is you're watching us from this morning. I am Oluwafunbi Bello saying welcome. Yes, you know, we take you through the dailies, and this morning I will be starting with the Nigerian Tribune on the front page. I will say it's a good day, good moment, a good season for the people of Osun State. On the front page, that's what's on everybody's lips since Saturday, and I will say after the announcement of the results, the early hours of yesterday, we'll say a very big congratulations to Governor Ademola Adeleke and of course the people of Osun State for coming out to vote for the person of their choice. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, we have Osun poll, how Adeleke won. And the writer says, role of resolute Osun people, withheld local government funds, salaries, pensions. Influence of Deji Adeleke, Davido, others. The Omishore Ife Oshogbo connection. Tinubu says his victory confirmed electorate confidence in him. Atiku, Obi, Makinde, PDP, others congratulate him. Wild jubilation in many towns. We are studying election results, and that's coming from APC. Adeleke dedicates victory to God. Osun people reiterate support for Tinubu. All these stories, we can find them on pages 3, 22, 23, and 28. Indeed, interesting stories, I must say. I mean, we will talk about that more during the course of the program this morning. More stories, and of course on the front page we have the final results per local government areas, how the number of the votes, especially for Accord Party, PDP, APC, and ADC. We have the table there, and of course the total results, where we have final results for ADC, Accord Party, 511,067 votes, and APC, 444,815, while ADC polled 17,180 votes. More stories away from that, from Osun election. ASU clears 2 universities for strike over failed 2025 agreements. That story is on page 26. Top 5 transactions that attract withholding tax in Nigeria. That story can be found on page 14. El-Rufai sues ICPC for allegedly denying his family access to him. That story is on page 24. 2027, Accord, AAC, SDP presidential candidates join forces against Tinubu. Hashim Showore Adebayo demand release of Nnamdi Kanu, Benechia. Mesango seek international cautions against anti-democratic actors. Movement for Democratic Renewal launched in Port Harcourt. Our story is on page 24. CSOs warn against further delay in transmitting state police bill to states. Ask NAS to reconvene to set up conference committee as reps probe sweeping safeguards against presidential and governors' interference. And lastly, on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune is a story on page 26. NADDC NYSC flag off CNG retrofilling stage training for 300 core members nationwide. And that story is on page 26. Taking it into the inside stories of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. On page 3, we have wild jubilation across Osun as Adeleke wins governorship poll with 66,252 vote margin. And APC says, we are studying development to determine the next line of action. News analysis, how Adeleke won. That's all stories are on page 3. And on tax and taxation, PwC identifies 6 categories guiding tax treatment of virtual assets in Nigeria. Tax authorities can assess undisclosed business income, experts warn. Top 5 transactions that attract withholding tax in Nigeria. All stories on page 14. And on energy, Nigeria's crude supply to local refineries hits 53.7 MB in Q2, representing 97.4%, and that's coming from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. Deep offshore incentive order will accelerate investment production growth, and that's coming from Ojulari. More stories moving to page 26. CSOs warn NAS against further delay in transmitting state police bill to states. ASU clears 20 universities for strike over failed 2025 agreement. Why we lost Oshun, APC National Youth Leader, and that story is on page 28. At Lautech Discourse, UI Registrar advocates digital transformation of varsity registries. And on the back page where we have some sports stories, talk of page 30 and 31. No excuses for loss to Amorim's Milan, and that's coming from Carrick. Wambali targets Eagles recall. Messi misses penalty again as Nashville beats Inter Miami. Eagles keeper Okonkwo on Bolton Raider. Why Ejuke missed preseason trips, and that's coming from Sevilla Chief. Enugu set to host international marathon. Arsenal crush Man City to win Community Shield. And lastly, we have Akol Adams fires Venezia to victory with brace. And that's all we have on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Moving on to more stories on the Vanguard newspaper. On the front page, we have Oshu polls. The Guardian newspaper, I beg your pardon. Opposition's victory relieves people. Power raises stake for APC in 2027. And that story is on page 6. Of course, on the front page, we have the result of the election and how each candidate, the votes they polled during the election. More stories. Gunmen kill 4 in Benue as troops repel attack on Borno military base. That story is on page 9. El Rufai files fresh 10 billion naira suit against ICPC for allegedly denying family access to him. That's on page 9. Stop blaming past governments for refineries woes, Atiku tells Tinubu. And that's on page 3. Moving on with more stories. But before that, we have a commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Supramalt Multivitamin Junior. Supramalt Multivitamin Junior. Being mommy simplified.
This award goes to the most punctual student of the entire school. And the winner is Lisa Solomon.
Something is telling me that she makes her daughter skip breakfast just to be here. You people could have just asked. I would have been happy to tell you my secret.
Enjoy instant goodness with John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate. The quickest start.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to a new kingdom, guys.
Promel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Promel on malaria gone.
Thank you for staying with us still on the Guardian newspaper this morning. On the front page, we have more stories. On page 3, Oshun poll, Makinde, NGF, ADC, Huriwa, Yaga Africa congratulates Adeleke. Resident doctors unveil new work regulation to check burnout. And that story is also on page 3. ASU rallies federal government to lecturers' grievances. welfare demands. And that story is on page 8. And lastly, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, ministry partners states private sector on livestock transformation. And that story is on page 8. I'm taking some of the inside stories. On page 3, resident doctors unveil new work regulation to check burnout. Osun polls Makinde NGF ADC, Huriwa Yaga Africa congratulates Adeleke. Condemn vote buying, says results reflect ballot counted at polling units. We are consulting our legal team over results, says APC. IBB, no coup succeeded in Nigeria without civilian support. Jonathan, PDP celebrates ex-military leader at 85. And that's all stories are on page 3. Moving on to more stories on page 4. Thieves Got Talent. How mob entertainment masks jungle justice, human rights abuse. And that story is on page 4. It's definitely going to be a good read. And on page 5, IPPIS, lawyers push for prosecution of ghost workers, payroll frauds. CSOs target improved accountability in budget implementation. Investigation Bureau faults move to slash revenue statutory allocation. All stories are on page 5 and more stories on page 8. Rewa Lords EFCC over recovery of 115 billion naira, $84 million NDDC funds. ASU rallies federal government to lecturers' grievances, welfare demands, rejects ABSU lecturer suspension, vows to sustain indefinite strike. Nigeria to begin production of armored vehicles, anti-drone systems, and that's on page 9. Gunmen kill 4 in Benue as troops repel attack on Borno military base. Police confirms Sokoto terrorist attack. More stories on the back page where we have some sports stories. On page 39, NSC cancels NFF election, set to name normalization committee. Nigeria finishes 4th as India wins 2026 Commonwealth Fencing Championship. Galatasaray rejects Arsenal's bid for Victor Osimhen. And lastly, on the back page of the Guardian newspaper, Osun election and concerns for democracy. And that's all we have on the newspaper review this morning. We'll be right back after the weather reports. We'll head straight to our interview segment and give you what we have for you today. Stay with us.
It's your 100% money.
Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair?
Didn't your landlord just increase rent?
I saved for this one separately on money points.
No. You say you save on money points?
Yes.
This madam money points here, the array of your dryer there is charging savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is this savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact.
Jennifer, money point save as you transact. Money point fixed savings and money point target savings.
What's up? Why did I tell you don't contribute to you? What you say? Come on, oh, you go give your money to Hadaku to save. You see money point accounts there. You don't go open a savings account. Now Hadaku you shoot. I beg everybody inside this my saloon. Oh, you bring out your phone and download the money point app now. Even you. What are you waiting for?
Download the Money Point banking app now. Start saving with the bank you can trust.
Money Point, made for your progress.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. During the newspaper review, we mentioned that we will be looking at the Osun-Gilbert poll, and just to have an overview of how the election went. Of course, a lot of things to talk about, matters arising from that particular election on Saturday. And we will say it was the most contentious election so far, and there were a lot of, preceding the election dates, a lot of violence, and luckily, as much as we had a lot of fears for the election, we really did not see that play out much. Of course, it played out, but not much on the election date because we had a lot of security personnel deployed to Osun State. Before introducing our guest, the candidate of the Accord Party and incumbent governor, Ademola Adeleke, has been declared the winner of the 2026 Osun State governorship election after securing 511,067 votes. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Adeleke won 50.8% of the 1,005,800 votes cast across the state's 3,763 polling units. The remaining 14 candidates shared 49.2% of the votes, with All Progressives Congress APC candidate Bola Oyebamiji taking the largest share at 44.2%, while the remaining 13 candidates cumulatively shared 5%. To do justice for today's conversation this morning, we have the chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Oyo State Chapter, Honorable Opeyemi Akinade. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning.
It's good to have you talk about, at least one thing that makes, it feels like, when we talk about election in Nigeria, does it look like, looking at what happened in Osun State, does it look like we are getting there when we talk of election in the history of Nigeria?
Yes, if possibly the people of the nation, the masses, can emulate what happened in Osun State, I think the Osun have shown us the right path that we should follow. Because with all the intimidations, with all the power issues, with all the stronghold or whatever it is, the people of Osun let Nigerians realize that, yes, we know where we are going to, and we know what we want. And they got it. So I give a kudos to them that, yes, they did a very good job, and they try to be a good leaders to every other state in this nation presently. Because if every other state can emulate what they did in Osun, that they let whoever that want to humiliate them, that want to use power or whatever any political party believe they want to use, if the people of the state comes together and believe, yes, we know where we are going to, we know what we want, we know how where we are putting our force together to. So I believe we are getting it right.
Okay, let's look at the overall conduct of the election. How would you rate?
Yes, I think I was here on Saturday morning that I said, I prayed to God Almighty Allah that we should have a free and fair election. Yes, when we are talking about free and fair election, though there are some issues before the election, but for that very day, no. If I was to give a mark to Osun State, I would give them 95%.
You think that's not so high?
No.
I mean, considering the fact that we saw, that we saw
any election,
there were issues on that day.
Any election.
But it was not up to.
Even in an advanced country, no how there will not be little issues. To what happened in Osun State on Saturday, the issues there was seriously minor. We call it minor. So to me, the issue cannot. I still stand on my word that they score 95%. Yes.
95%.
Yes.
Okay. Looking at the activities and how INEC performed, let's look at INEC's performance before we come to the people of Osun State, and of course the governor also. What would you say about INEC's performance?
Yes. Then I would like to say that INEC, I think INEC too are getting it right, because I think on these stations too, before I came into the studio here, I watched it that the INEC PRO in Osun State, when you put a call through to him, and with the news up and down from this station to other stations across the nation, they let us realize that all the INEC officials got to the polling unit even earlier before the people were expected. So, and that is what we need. And the transparency when the election, during the election, after the election, even after the result is being pronounced, I think INEC too, they contributed a lot to the free and fair election that happened in Osun State.
You're talking of their planning?
Yes. The process.
But do you think it was just
okay.
the process of INEC, and what about the security, deployment of security personnel? Because when we look at the turnout, I feel like it was much more than what was initially
the security personnel,
expected.
The security issue in Osun State is seriously overwhelmed, in the sense that I want to believe that the security personnel in Osun State is very, very too much. Because
it was much more than was needed.
Yes. How could we, just because of a state election, Nigeria police deployed 30 commissioner of police? I don't know the number of AIGs there.
32 commissioners of police.
32 commissioner of police. I don't know the number of AIG there. 1 DIG to help them. I think that is fucking too much.
No, we would not permit you to use that word. Please.
Okay, it's too much. Let me say it's too much. No, it's too much. Because, I
mean, we saw rising tension in the state. We saw the violence.
The rising tension.
We saw the killings.
Should have been curbed earlier before the election day.
They will try to manage it. Let's piggyback a little where we had, Osun State had issues with the initial commissioner of police, I think CP Gotan, and he was replaced with Samuel Etaifo, and just to douse the tension. So I
agreed with you.
Steps were already taken to douse the tension, to reduce the violence in the state.
Even, I think 3 weeks before the election.
Yes, it was even, I think about 5 weeks there, about 4 weeks before the election.
Okay.
Well, now when we look at the number of security personnel, let's also talk about NSCDC deploying over 10,000 personnel to Osun State. Now, because we saw the rise of the violence, the spread of violence, the attacks in the state, you felt, or you think that deploying over 25,000 police officials was too much?
How many policemen do we have in Nigeria? If you look at that, the number of policemen that are deployed to Osun State, probably because of that election, what percentage can you give the percentage of policemen in Nigeria given to a state just for an election? To me, like I said earlier, the policemen that are supposed to have deployed to Osun State supposed not to be up to that.
But I'm trying to make you, maybe we should look at it from the angle of the violence, from the angle of the tension. In fact, a lot of people already said they would not come out to vote on that day because they were not sure what was going to happen. Let's also look at the statement one of the senators, Senator Fadahunsi, made 2 weeks ago. And unfortunately, he came out to also debunk it and said that was not what he meant when he said, when you see them, kill them. Or he said, kill them with votes. So the tension was already there. The residents were scared. What other ways do you think, or how many security personnel do you think would have been better deployed to Osun State to give the people confidence to come out to vote?
I want to believe that if 15,000 is being deployed to Osun State, it's far more better than the 25,000 policemen deployed. Do you understand? Then, if you can remember vividly, on the election eve, you realize that the people of Osun State came out with a peaceful rally that we want to vote. We are not ready for any violence. They have agreed within themselves. You see, it's not.
There's always been an agreement. But sometimes those before we continue on this conversation, because even before the election, a peace deal was signed. And it felt like it was not by political players. But it felt like it was not. Yes, it felt like it was not held. But before we continue on that conversation, to continue to talk about that, we have a commercial break. We'll be right back.
To trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent.
Thank you very much for staying with us. It's been a heated conversation talking of the Osun Gilba 2026 and looking at taking it, matters arising from that particular election. Look, an overview of what went down before, during, and after the election. Before we went on that, because we were talking about the deployment of over 25,000 persons, and you said you do not think it was necessary.
You see, let me say this: when the new CP came into Osun, I think 2 or 3 days after he came in, I have opportunity to be in Osogbo, and I go into the town around 7 p.m. in the evening. I see how policemen were being deployed in the town, up and down, every nose and cranny of Osogbo town. Which I believe that strategy is a very good one, and the kind of that kind of a strategy might have even calmed the tension before the election. Then we have about 3-4 weeks ahead before the election then. So I want to believe that, because I stayed just only 2 days there. So I want to believe such is a continuity thing that they did towards the election. So with that, if 10 to 15,000 naira policemen now deployed, because the tension had...
But while you were there, did you notice, if the deployment of that number of security personnel to the states gave the people confidence to actually come out to vote? But don't you think that was what played out?
But when the CP was changed, that was when I was there.
Okay.
Do you understand? So sometimes, if you say we want to do something to make peaceful, to make the town be peaceful, sometimes you have to look at it at a tight corner that such a thing might even turn to disadvantage to whatever we want to achieve on that. Because massive policemen might even scare away the people to come out to do their civil rights. That's another disadvantage.
You think it was not giving them confidence?
No.
Especially where there's been...
It is only when they come together by themselves that we want to... I think I saw it on the social media up and down that that we want to vote. We are not ready for any violence.
Honorable, you're not getting what I'm saying. My question is, now, for instance, a community where there's so much violence, and they're seeing deployment of security personnel, is that not much confidence for them to feel safe to come out to vote?
Yes,
now, that's where my question, that's exactly what I'm asking.
But, if there is, we have different communities in Osun State. there are some places the INEC called a flashpoint.
Yes.
Where their violences are being eroded up and down. Now, if we have 15,000 policemen, I think strategically by Nigerian police, they can deploy more of their people to that places than all over the town, which I believe with 15,000 policemen, they can still manage the crisis the way it's been managed on Saturday.
All right.
That is just my point.
We have a report on reaction from the election by Adeola Oladele. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is a one-off election, so we can't really judge. It's just one state, not that we have the whole state. So I'm hoping that INEC will take some of the pieces, some of the fallout, and hopefully 2027 election, general election, presidential, governorship, senatorial election, they will prepare well and ensure that the election will be free. I repeat, free, fair, and credible, so that nobody will come out and nag and complain.
It's a good omen for the 2027 election. In fact, people really troop out en masse to vote for the candidate of their choice, and the wish of people really can't. We really appreciate the INEC and all the security agencies that participated in that election. So it's good and better for us as a nation.
That shows what people deserve. That's what they want. They want Adeleke back, and they've gotten it. It shows that the incumbent president is not at any time trying to enforce his will on them.
Yeah, first of all, let me congratulate Adeleke for winning the election. But there was too much threat, and it must not be allowed in any election to go on further like that. It's a viral thing. If they allow it to happen, there will be problem. It must be challenged in court. The two parties, there was incumbency inducement, there was this federal might about the election. It must be challenged in court.
With the outcome of the election of Osun State, it shows that if there is proper security personnel on ground, I think people are ready to go out and vote.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. That was compiled by Adeola Oladele. Listening to what everyone said and the reaction, it felt like a lot of people in Osun State wanted Adeleke back.
Of course, they want him back.
And now my question is it about the political party or the individual himself, talking of the governor? Why do you think Adeleke was brought back?
Yes, I will categorically say it in three ways. One, I want to believe the people of Osun want Adeleke back. I believe because of the what APC might have done in the past, they still believe that they are enjoying the party, which is their court party. And thirdly, even the people in Osun State that happens to be APC or other political member have sympathy vote because of some issues that have happened earlier before last Saturday that they had their election. So, to me, the people of Osun believe in Adeleke, and he also got sympathy votes from them, and they let Nigerians realize that they want to be a state to be looking towards that, they are to emulate whatever they might have done on Saturday, that yes, truly we are truly from Osun State.
Looking at the trajectory.
And if we look at the Osun State earlier, before this even era we are, you see that the state is a peaceful state, like Oyo State we are.
But we do not see that peace during election periods in Osun State. Looking at the trajectory of election.
Yes, we cannot see it. You know, when you and I are fighting for something, I will want you to feel the kind of power I have. You also want me to feel the kind. So that is why there are some violences before the election. But when the people that we are fighting over, we believe we are fighting for the masses, now comes to let us realize that they want peaceful thing. Whoever that will emerge as our leader we want to choose him or her peacefully. So they come out and let us realize it. I have to support that, which I believe you also have to support that. That is what happened in Osun State. Whether Adeleke like it or not, he must have accepted defeat, assuming he was not the one that won the election. Even Ambo, as he loses out, he accepted defeat. He has accepted the defeat. So, if you look at it vividly, you see that masses are more important than the election, because the election we believe we want to choose a leader for is for the people. Why are we killing the people that want to govern?
But we really seen it that way in Nigeria. Especially
Yeah,
when we
see election as a do or die affair. Yes, if we are not really seeing it in that way, Osun State have let us realize that we have to see it in that way. And even at that, I will even call on the OISEC, because we are having local government election here in Oyo State 2 weeks before presidential election, that they should try and emulate this kind of a thing. And also the government in power.
Emulate what exactly?
The peace with the free and fair election that happened in Osun State. So that Oyo State too will join the state that people would want to be looking upon, that yes, let's follow what Oyo State also did in their local government election. That is been peaceful.
But when we talk about credibility in Osun State, yes, but are you sure it was really free?
Yes, it is.
You think it was truly free?
I believe it is.
Okay.
I believe it is. Because that is why I said I gave them 95%. I believe it's no higher election will not, there won't be any Ogumi Otemi. No. It will definitely happen. But it is very, very minimal. So any consequence election in Nigeria, either local government or general election that we are looking towards, we should please, for God Almighty's sake, let's allow peace. Because like what Jonathan said when he was being elected out, he was voted out, said no any Nigerian blood worth my election. So let's, this thing I believe, they said democracy is government of the people, led by the people and for the people. And we are the people. Why can't we just call ourselves and sit down and choose what we want peacefully? Me and you can fight and still become a friend. It's just for me to let you realize that this is my point and prove it to you in a good manner, which I believe when you see the senses in it, you accept whatever I'm saying. Why I can also accept whatever you are saying. It's not that, it is not compulsory that we must fight before we can achieve a thing in this nation. Since 1999, the 1999 election, kudos to that. This is the only election that I see that is almost the same as the one we had in 1999.
Where people wanted,
yes,
they voted for.
Yes, that this is the person we want, and voted him or her in. This is another election we can say is fair, credible.
Now, we talk about voter apathy a lot in Nigeria, especially when during election season like this, and a lot of Nigerians do not really see the reason why they should come out to vote. Now, looking at what happened in Osun State, in fact, we saw the widespread jubilation across towns in Osun State, and people chanting his name, people calling, jubilating the celebration.
I was in Ilefe yesterday.
And what was the mood
I
like?
passed through Moro, then because I went to go and pick up my daughter in school. When I enter Moro town, you see how people are just sitting down, joint by joint, flying their party color, enjoying themselves, shouting up and down there, which is the best thing. I supposed to have even go earlier on Friday, but because of the election, I think, and I thought that just stay in the campus. I don't know what.
No, looking at the way the residents in Osun State took this election, it felt like they took it serious.
Yes.
They knew what they wanted and they went for it.
Of course.
Now, how do we
that the ANC member might have even joined them to celebrate Adeleke together? Yes.
Now, how do we encourage? General elections is coming, 2027 is fast approaching. How do we begin to encourage Nigerians to say your vote really counts? Because we hear a lot of people say our vote doesn't count. I will not go out to vote because they will eventually rig it. Now, Osun State is looking like that's not the case. Whether you voted for and you voted truly for will definitely emerge if the count, if the votes are there. How do we begin to encourage Nigerians to say, come out to vote on election day?
Even the Yalata Yelewedu at our popular market over there in the town, I believe if they cannot even listen or watch how the election went through, I believe they have been listening to what happened up and down, maybe through the radio station, through the whatever means they might have had it. So, to me, I expect them to be having that kind of courage that their election will be counted. That is one. Secondly, I will also call on the INEC that I think I heard it from Oyo State Rec sometimes ago that Oyo State happens to be a capital city for the Southwest. And all the equipment they had here in Oyo State is far more better than the other states in the Southwest. So, which I'm calling on them that they should try as much as possible to make sure all those materials are being in good place before the general election. Because if we have issues with beavers, even if we have a free and fair election, by the time the election is to be announced, if we have issues with beavers, another thing might have happened. But no, their machines are very perfectly okay. So I urge the REC in Oyo State here too and other states that they should make sure that their machines is being up to date before the general election, so that whenever people comes out to vote the people of their choice, then by the time the election result is being collated, they should not let the people realize that they have that trust in them too. It's of two things. If the masses believe in themselves that, okay, let's, because of what happened in Osun State, we will come out and vote our choice candidate in. Another thing is for the INEC as well, to let people's votes counted properly. If there's no any issue with their machines and the thing goes accordingly to them too, I believe Nigeria will be progressing.
So you're saying INEC should live up to expectations?
Yes. And it will start from our people. So which I've already called on them, which I believe they might have seen what every Nigerian's heard about Osun election. So they should use that to come out for the 2027 general election, vote the candidate of their choice. And I believe INEC as well will do the necessary thing to make their vote count.
Let's look at the responsibilities of INEC and what, I know you mentioned the beavers now, and of course the IREV, but what other things should they start or should they have started putting in place ahead of the 2027 general election? Because looking at the performance, their performance during Osun election, there's been a lot of kudos given to INEC. And of course, I watched or I listened to the INEC commissioner last week, Professor Ajayi in the state, and he mentioned that results would be uploaded in real time. And we saw that play out during the Osun election. Now, we want to see more of this in the history of election in Nigeria, particularly this coming general election in a few months from now. What are those things you think INEC should begin to put in place? Because this feels like a test for INEC.
Yes. Any election in this nation that doesn't have process. The 2027 general election is a process which the process have started. We have pre-election, during election, post-election. The pre-election is on ground, and so far so good that I can say about here in Oyo State, I still give kudos for the process. So that is why I'm calling on them. The remaining process before the election should not be, okay, part of the remaining process is when their staffs, both direct staff and their ad hoc staffs, they should make sure that they give them a proper training towards the general election. They should let them realize that no any politician should intimidate them directly or indirectly. And both before the election, during the election, and after the election. So then what now next on the after the election is the issue of IRF transmitting the results on their portal. They should let it be the way the one we have experienced in Osun went on, so that the people will have that trust they had in Osun State in them for the general election.
All right.
The people as well will be able to be praising them like the way they did in Osun.
Looking at, I want us to now talk about the president's position during this Osun election. We saw the issues with APC in the states, the violence, the attack, counterattacks. I'm talking of the verbal attacks now.
Yes.
And how words were being traded. And of course, a lot of people said, oh, because they had the federal support, they had the support of the president. And I remember yesterday after the announcement of the election, the result of the election, Governor Adeleke said the president called him. And before that, the president said the re-election of Governor Ademola Adeleke is in the just concluded Osun election is a fitting assurance that democracy will continue to flourish in our country under the All Progressives administration. Let's look at what the president said there. Are we really experiencing democracy in Nigeria? Is democracy really flourishing under this administration?
Well, I would first like to say that the democracy is flourishing under this administration only in Osun State. That is a state that has been used to test strong, which I will call on the present administration to let what they displayed in Osun happens in general election. You see the issue, there are some verbal violences we've had before the election. I want to believe the thing caused by the president, and kudos to him, because I believe he realized it and later curbed everything. Senator Fadansi, I don't like that some certain language you said I should not mention, but I would just say that he should have learned his lesson too. As a father, as an elder statesman, as a senator of Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is a senator from Osun State. Whether he like it or not, if he happens to find himself in Kwara, Rivers, Ebonyi, Kaduna, Kano, Borno, he still remains a senator of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So such a violent word should not be coming out of an elderly state person like him. So which I believe he must have learned his lesson. Then you see, when I don't know where that one came from, when the EFCC freezed one of the account of Osun State, what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did also contributed a peaceful manner to the election. He played a peaceful role towards the election for him to have intervened in the matter. So, and for him to have even called the newly elected governor, the incumbent governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke, I believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still continue to let the Nigerians realize that he's playing the better role as a president.
All right, as we begin to wrap up on this segment, let's look at Governor Adeleke's response to the phone call placed to him by the president. He said, I must deeply appreciate the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for a free, fair election. I hereby reaffirm my earlier endorsement of him for his second term in the 2027 presidential election. Now, when we look at that, we talk about leadership and the role, how a leader should behave. And looking at, of course, we would not categorically say we know that Governor Adeleke shouldn't. He had every right to be angry, even with the president, but he showed leadership. And when we look at the leadership structure in Nigeria, we realize that a lot of our political leaders really do not take responsibility. How should we begin to talk about responsibilities and leadership in our political structure in Nigeria?
Yes, there are some issues surrounding the victory of Governor Ademola Adeleke in Osun State. That might even give him an opportunity to say what he said about supporting or endorsement. And another thing is an agreement earlier before now. If you can remember, people, you realize that he has said it earlier that allow me to do the second time and I will give an endorsement for your second term too. So it's a kind of fulfilling his promise. But on the other hand, that is if his political party allow him for such. Remember, he's just a governor under a platform, under a political party. He only have a say in Osun State as a governor. If the party said this is what they want in Osun State, they will only come to a round table and discuss that and settle it amicably. He doesn't have a say for a court party throughout the federation. And we are talking about the federation election. We are talking about national election. So he is giving his support basically on the agreement they've had, basically on his promise to the president earlier before the election. And he is giving his support basically to let the leaders of political parties in Osun State. You know, we have some leaders that their legs are, their head are not really straight. He's just telling them that you should try to do this in case of other time. So to me, he can say it purposely because of his victory, because he's happy, and he can say it. I can also say that it's a political statement. In the other hand, that is why I said he's not the national chairman of his party, so he cannot give endorsement for that.
All right, as we begin to look ahead for the 2027 election, using the Osun election as a test, a yardstick for INEC, but this is not just on INEC now, even for Nigerians, what should we be looking forward to?
There's nothing we should be looking towards than free, fair, and credible election. And it will not come just like we are saying it. We have to practicalize it. Me and you have to. Because every aspect of this nation have a role to play. The journalists have a role. Politicians have a role. The masses have a role. The security personnel have a role. So we should all believe we are all Nigerians. And we should do something that will make our country great.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kweyemi Akinade. He's the chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Oyo State Chapter. Thank you so much for talking on the topic, an overview of the Osun governorship election. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with our second guest after this break. Stay with us. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
It's your mic.
Oh.
confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 123.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Still talking about the Osun Giba election and, of course, what played out during the election. We have the Secretary, Accord Oyo State Chapter, Honorable Yinka Daira, in the studio with us. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning.
It's good to have you. Let's talk about the atmosphere in Osun State. Let's just have an idea of what's currently happening, what the jubilation is like. How's the party feeling?
I actually expected you to say congratulations to me.
Well, that's also a way of saying congratulating your party.
Every member of Accord in Nigeria, we are in celebration mode. As we speak now, if you go to Osun now, celebration is ongoing since they announced the result of the election. Yesterday, I was supposed to be with some people. People are just celebrating in different places, in different ways. People that don't even belong to the party, that they just feel that, oh, Accord, we love this man and we love this party. They are celebrating. I mean, people of Osun State.
No.
Go to the street of Osun State. That's yesterday. You see that what is going on? Is it that they have not won an election in Osun State before? But this last one was completely different from the way they normally say things.
When we look at the jubilation centered around the political party now, is it about the party or the governor himself, the individual?
Well, there is no way you want to talk about individual without talking about the party. Without the party, there cannot be that individual. You understand? They are celebrating the party, at the same time celebrating the individual, the governor.
If the governor had not contested under Accord, do you think he would have been re-elected?
Well, Governor Adeleke is a popular candidate, no doubt about that. I want to believe that if you are good, go to any political party, there is no way you will not win. You understand? So that's the only thing I can say. If Adeleke should go to what is the last party on the ballot paper? Zenith Labour. I think they have registered them. You understand? So I'm just telling you that if it is the last party on the ballot paper, the people will still find a way of locating that party and vote for Governor Adeleke. It's a popular candidate, and as a party, Accord is a party that people love. You understand? So that will also help him. Yeah.
All right. Let's look at what played out preceding the election or on the election day. We saw the deployment of that huge security personnel, the Nigerian police, the NSCDC. We also saw over 20 governors moved into the state. Now, is this an issue of intimidation, or it was just a way of support?
Well, if you ask me, I will tell you you have already answered.
No, I haven't.
We were chatting. He said some of our people said these give kind of sympathy votes to Governor Adeleke. I am telling you, people are just saying that is it because of only this man? Is that the reason why you are doing all this? They do all sort of things, propaganda. You remember few days to the election, they want to bring one man that I should go on here and be saying that Accord has already stepped down for their own candidates, which I feel that was uncalled for. You understand? If you are popular,
that man is not affiliated to Accord.
At all. I do tell people that this is the man. We got to know him in 2022 when we are preparing for 2023 general elections. He came to obtain the presidential form of accord. He was one that contested under the accord in 2023. And thereafter, there was nothing like that. We felt that even that time, we felt that he was sent. You understand that he was sent to come and pick our ticket so that other powerful individual will not come to pick accord presidential ticket then. And all that one, you know, when Adeleke joined us, he resurfaced. He came to us and was like, he's in court. That is the authentic national chairman of Accord. I do tell people, somebody called me on phone, one journalist called me on phone, was asking me that what's happening. I told him that people, you journalists, before you even ask questions, you can have INEC does is very open to everyone to ask questions. You can go on their portals, check the authentic national chairman or the NWC of the party. You will see them there. As we speak today, Barrister Maxwell Woodem is the national chairman of the party, while Honorable Dr. Mr. is the national secretary of the party. How on earth would somebody now want to arrange?
So who was that individual? Because of course it says the national chairman. I've seen a faction in a court.
We don't have any faction. I've said it all. Okay, let me just give you a little narration about him. His name is Imomule. You understand? Imomule. I've told you that he contested in our party. Sometimes in 2024-25, he said he wanted to compensate the state chairman for the role he played during his election. You understand? And he said he wanted all of them to come to Lagos. He arranged somewhere for them in Lagos. Those people, unwilling to them, they just said that, oh, okay, what a wonderful man, good man. They got there. When they got there, they find out that he was trying to play kind of game. So majority of these chairmen noticed that, and immediately they left without telling him that they were leaving. So, but by the time they were sitting, he brought medias. They recorded those people, and the next thing they will be saying that they had done convention in Lagos State. We just sat there, we were just laughing. That this man, that obviously he is not a politician. How will you have a convention without inviting INEC? And he was using the pictures and the video they recorded in that place that all the state chairmen had endorsed him as the national chairman of the party. I said, who does that? So shortly after that, our convention came. It was held in Abuja. He came to pick up the form that he wanted to contest as well. No problem, it's a free word. You are a member of the party, you contested last election here, and we allowed him. When we saw that day, you now found out that he brought some of his people, because I think he has a school, so he brought some of his students in his school buses to come and disrupt that convention. So when we noticed that, we need to contact the security personnel that they should give us more hands. The time is supposed to even start the convention. It has to be shifted because of the. INEC will not go to where they don't feel safe. So they told us that if they cannot put security on ground, they are not coming. We
are seeing a lot of crises in a lot of political parties in Nigeria. And of course, we cannot say Accord is left out.
Exactly.
I've seen some of the activities in some states in Nigeria. Now, how do we begin to talk about strength and unity amongst political parties in Nigeria, especially when we are talking about a 2027 election, just a few months away from now?
See, in a political party, you find out that people from different homes gather themselves together to be in that party, people with different characters, you understand? And the majorly, what normally causes problem is selfish interest. It's selfish interest. If you have the interest of the people at heart, the interest of the people is in your heart, and you don't believe that, oh, it's a must for me to do this, it's a must for me to become this, I told people, last general election, if not because of the selfish interest, see the way PDP, see the way they just spoiled everything for themselves. If Atiku and Obi had gone together, as marched together to be in the same party, do you think President Obi would have defeated them? It's not possible. But that's the problem we have. That time, Obi he denied that he wanted to become president. Atiku was having that he wanted to, and they cannot. That means if truly you want to serve people and you are in the same party, why can't you sit down together, talk about this thing? We want to serve these people. We want to make Nigeria to better, and you agree on a consensus candidate that this is let's push this person forward and support him. And if truly if you two have mind of doing good, you believe that once that man get to the seat, definitely you'll be part of the administration. Whatever you have on your head to make Nigeria better, you sell it to him. He's your party man. You are in the same party. So, but these days, that is what you don't have. Personal interests. It is it's over the interest you have for your people. I think that is a major problem we are having in most of the parties we have in Nigeria today.
All right, let's take it back to the election now. On the day of the election, we had there were reports of thugs attacking some of these polling units, attacking some of these voters. And we would ask questions that despite the presence of that huge security personnel, why did we still have thugs disrupting polling or disrupting voters exercising their rights on that day?
What I can say about that is the opposition party feels that, or they are saying that the way this thing is going, they might not actually get what they wanted. So they believe that the only thing they can do is to disrupt the exercise, forgetting that INEC has moved higher than that. You understand? Why they were at the collation center, they were saying that they should stop whatever they are doing in that place, that there are some thugs around there. Said, what are they even talking about? With the heavy security you took to Osun State, you are still saying that there are some thugs. Who are these thugs? Who brought these thugs? You understand? It is because the oppositions are not popular, you understand, like the incumbents. They believe that the incumbent is so popular that whatever they do, they can still match, they cannot match with his, how will I put it, with his strengths. Do you understand? So that is why the results are, okay, let's use talks to disrupt whatever they are doing. One of my boys in Ikiri, he called me as he said, they have disrupted everything, they have nothing, everything has been disrupted, nothing is happening here again, no more election, this and that.
So they stopped people from voting.
I am telling you, the guy called me and told me that, he left where he was supposed to cast his vote and he went without casting his vote.
Right, the security agencies, personnel that were deployed.
I wouldn't know
were they not there?
I wouldn't know. When you have an opposition that they feel that they have federal might, they feel that they can do and undo. And
so are you saying federal might was at play?
Well, when I say federal might, the president might not be in the known.
Directly.
You understand? You understand? So, but there are some powers that be, you understand, that feel that, okay, this thing, they must collect it, they must win that place by fire by force.
All right, talking of, we are still talking about the attacks, the thuggery and everything, post-election now.
Yeah.
We know some factions, of course, might not be completely happy with the outcome of the election. Now, what are those measures that have been put in place? Those over 25,000 security personnel that were deployed to the state for the election, what efforts is Osun State currently putting in place to make sure that we are not seeing a retaliation, post-election retaliation, attack in the state?
Good question. The Governor Ademola Adeleke made a statement. He said the election has come and gone. The winner has emerged already. And whatever that happens thereafter, whoever that is involved, and you know, you understand that shortly after the announced Governor Adeleke, the president called him, congratulated him, you understand, and gave him some kind word of assurance that nothing is going to happen in Osun State. That is going to happen in Osun State, that he was talking about security breach. So that means the presidency knows that some people might want to be causing problem. And I want to believe that presidency must have called some people to order that if anything happens in Osun, if you forget any trouble in Osun, you're on your own. So I feel that the Commissioner of Police in Osun State, they must have called him as well, that whoever that want to make any or format any trouble in Osun should be arrested.
So measures are being put in place
I am very sure of that.
All right.
Sure
Looking at the reaction from opposition party now, especially APC, says we are studying development to determine the next line of action. Now, are we going to now start talking about
let them go to court.
Court cases.
That is what see. Let me now tell you this. All these things.
Considering the difference now, let also before you answer the
question,
considering the difference in the election, 65,252 votes, the difference between Accord and APC. So now, looking at their statement, their reaction, are we seeing court cases?
Well, all these statements is a statement that we normally hear when an election is being conducted and it doesn't favor a particular political party. They wouldn't want to say that, oh, they have accepted the defeat. We had that when Oyetola lost his election to Governor Ademola Adeleke. They said they were going to court, they want to... court is there to... you can go to court to seek a kind of redress. Do you understand? If you feel that you have been cheated somewhere, that, oh, okay, this also plays... there's also places, these are the things that happen. If you have your fact, bring it out. But you will say that, you understand? The margin of Ademola Adeleke's victory between Accord and APC is not what anybody can contest. But if they believe that, oh, okay, they are not pleased with the result, let them go to the court. Like I assure you, they will fail.
You're certain of that?
I'm very sure of that. People, it is not even those ones they got. Don't let me go. God has done it for us. The election has come and gone. We have won. But I can tell you that if they start to scrutinize the result, they might lose some places there.
All right, let's look at INEC's performance during this election. There were a lot of commendation, and especially how the management, the protocol, the organization of INEC, the deployment of the staffs, the ad hoc staff, and of course, looking at how the beavers and the IREF worked. Yes, there were complaints from some quarters that some people's fingerprints were not really captured. Some had difficulty, but the number was not as much as those that did not have difficulty. Now, give us your assessment of INEC's performance on that day.
Honestly speaking, I've been saying this. I was on radio yesterday. I can tell you categorically that INEC did wonderfully well. INEC did well. They put everything in place. They make sure that they wouldn't want any fuck up from anywhere. Maybe the chairman of INEC is what he's trying to protect. And he said he wanted to write an history.
Amopeton.
You understand?
And you think he's living up to that expectation?
Now. But I pray, come 2027, they will not be overwhelming. Do you understand? But this one, if you say we should rate how good their performance is, I can give them 80%.
Okay, now if we are giving them 80%, the previous guest also gave them 95%.
Okay.
But you know, we cannot use just one state election.
That's what I'm saying. I said
as a yardstick for the general elections, because looking at the number of states the election will be held, the presidency, the presidential election also is also there. Now, what are those expectations? What are those things we're expecting INEC to start working on? Because, of course, on that day, it's going to be no story.
Exactly, no story.
Nigerians do not want stories. So what should INEC start putting in place to make sure they are not just rewriting history in Osun State, but writing a good history in the history of elections in Nigeria?
I can tell you that we cannot use, what they call it, all-circle election to judge INEC, because they will have enough hands. All I can advise them to do, one, INEC should get more hands. If they don't have more hands, they should get people that really understand how to use BVAS, IRF, and some other gadgets they might want to use during the elections. That's number two. Number three, INEC should try to work hands in hands with communication companies. You understand? The complaint they had, I think I counted those things, they are not up to 50 where they had complaint. It's not up to 50 polling units that they had kind of complaint. If we are having 50 in only Osun that happen to be on-cycle election, how much more we are when we are preparing for 2027 general election that it will go with 37 states including FCT. So they need to work on those machines, and what we had was that it is due to the network of those places. Network. So they have been saying where the lapses might be. But what one of them said, he said where there is no perfect network, they can use the manual something. But Nigeria does not want to hear manual again. That is where we'll be thinking that, oh, okay, it has been manipulated or something. So they should try and work with the communication company to make sure that the kind of network they are going to give them, they will not be having kind of complaint that, oh, network failed here and there. Yeah, those are the things, these are the things I think they must put in place before the 2027 general election.
All right, let's look at the people now. We've looked at the leaders generally, INEC, and also INEC. Talking of the people, how the people received the incidents in Osun State, the pre-election violence during the election day, and of course even post-election, that's still ongoing. And I'm talking of the jubilation and how it felt like they wanted what they wanted, regardless of the violence, regardless of the stumbling block they faced. And now let's relate this to Nigerians generally now. Are we at that point, or are we getting to that point in Nigeria where Nigerians can stand up for themselves and say, yes, this is what we want and this is what we will get?
In Osun State, what you just mentioned, I was just happy when I saw some video clips that, we collected 30,000 naira and we did not sell our consent. You can imagine those statements that some people brought out money, people collected money and still they did not vote for them. I think we are getting there. We are getting there. If electorates can stand up and feel that, oh, you want to give us money, it's our money. You stole this money. You kept this money for today, for us to have it. And at the same time, that one, despite that you are giving money, I'm not going to sell my consent. I want to vote the person that I feel that he will be able to deliver or to give us what we actually want. Do you understand? Like Nigerians and electorate, we are getting there. And I was so impressed. We say that voter party. Did you notice anything of such? People came out en masse. They make sure that, that's why what
they do. Talking of the people coming out en masse now on Saturday, was it because of the sympathy they had for the governor?
It might not
and all activities that had played out before the election?
I have said that another thing